Hi, I'm Mika, an athlete and a huge sports fan. Remember this?
Kawhi up top, looks at the clock, turns the corner for the win! Got it! Kawhi!
Yeah, let's hear a little excitement for Raptors. Now, what about this?
They've got to go the length of the floor. Serena Williams at the buzzer, a three. She put it in! And the Liberty win!
What an incredible shot. How many of you knew about Kawhi Leonard's buzzer beater against the 76ers? Yeah, that's a lot of us. Now, what about that video clip of that women's basketball team? Not so many. That moment right there was Teresa Weatherspoon's half-court buzzer beater in the 1999 WNBA Finals. An amazing and proud moment for the New York Liberty. But why do we know one pivotal buzzer beater moment and not the other? Why do we know who Leonard is but not Weatherspoon? And why do we see a Raptors jersey and not a Liberty one? I was asking myself a similar question not too long ago. Sitting on my couch, watching some NBA and sports highlights on SportsCenter, I started to ask myself, where are the women? Why aren't we being recognized? As an athlete, someone who loves sports and has been playing competitively my whole life, I have witnessed and experienced the inequalities between men and women's sports. I am Muslim, and the Quran encourages us to think about life as inclusive. Everyone is valued, and in my understanding, men and women are considered equal. So for me, it's natural to question inconsistencies, inequalities, and divisions. When I see them, I want to do something to change it. One of the biggest inconsistencies I see is gender inequality. It doesn't make sense to me. Since I'm passionate about sports, I want to start there. When did the idea that women's sports are not as important as men's sports become a norm? For a long time, I wasn't conscious of it. I didn't question the idea that somehow women's sports don't merit a spotlight. They are amazing, but why don't people watch? It might be cultural ideas or systemic inequality, but it's undeniable. You saw that clip. Women have mad skills, but for some reason, they're not appreciated. Let's start at the beginning. Girls are encouraged to participate in sports when we're young. I remember Saturday mornings, parents cheering their boys and girls on, attending sports camp. It's fun. But when we hit high school, it's different. Sarah Du is a Canadian living in Beijing. She spoke about her experiences as a female athlete in China in her TEDx talk. She was the only girl in her basketball camp and had to deal with several microaggressions. Boys were surprised when she did something well, like making a shot. Imagine if that was you. How would you feel? This happens in North America all the time. Do we recognize the negative stigma created by the idea that girls don't play sports well? From a young age, boys are encouraged to participate in sports and continue them throughout their lives. There's a built-in infrastructure supporting them to work hard towards excellence and continue to participate in athletics recreationally or competitively. Girls start off strong, but as they mature, there are different expectations of us. The system doesn't encourage girls to continue in sports, and societal norms make young women feel self-conscious about their involvement in organized sports. So they drop out. In the process, systemic decisions are made based on a false premise that girls aren't interested. This means girls' teams get less funding and support. Part of the reason why girls stop participating is because of this lack of support. If there was an existing infrastructure and encouragement for girls to continue in sports, they would keep taking a part in them. This is a global issue. Worldwide, girls' involvement in sports is not made as much of a priority as boys. But let's explore what happens when you do encourage girls. In 2019, I had the opportunity to travel to East Africa with some of our close family friends. We collected sports gear, sports equipment to donate to an orphanage named Watoto in Uganda. It was absolutely an unforgettable moment to see the faces of those boys and girls while opening the 3 suitcases of equipment that we managed to bring. We met amazing coaches and worked with a great program called Score Beyond, which focuses on leadership and talent sports development for girls. This was when I met Lydia, a girl who attended Watoto, and she was 16. She was awesome. She did not only have mad skills on the court, but a very humble personality, and she is someone I will never forget. As a basketball player myself, Lydia's love for the sport and story of being a role model for her siblings made an impact on me. That same year, Lydia received a scholarship to play basketball in North Carolina. What this created was possibility. If we support girls' sports, what are the possibilities for the future? Now let's imagine that Lydia continues playing varsity sports and receives a scholarship to continue playing in post-secondary. What happens? She studies hard and is committed to excellence in sports. She works really hard and her team makes it to March Madness. Do you know where I'm going with this? March Madness 2021. Ali Kirshner, Stanford's sports performance coach for women's basketball, posted this. The weight room at the Indianapolis Hotel for the men's basketball tournament looked nearly as well stocked as a professional team's facility. They had rows of barbells, weighted plates, and lifting platforms. And the women's facility in San Antonio? A mostly empty ballroom with a few pairs of light dumbbells. Whoever outfitted this space either didn't know, didn't care, that elite athletes across the gender spectrum perform the same movements while training. The NCAA, for those of you who don't know, is the National Collegiate Athletics Association, and they are making a statement with their actions. They're saying that collegiate women teams are not as valuable or important as men's. And they're saying this to all the women who have fought to continue in sports and are trying to become professionals. And they're saying this to the entire sports world. This year, women called the NCAA out on it. How do you expect women to fulfill their full potential when you don't set them up for success? It is the same message they received as young women, that they're not supported nor as important as men. Now imagine that despite the lack of support in university, Lydia continues and pursues a professional career in sports. What will her experience be? In the professional sports world, systemic gender inequality is a fact. Women are treated, paid, and represented differently. In the 1970s, there was a tennis player named John McEnroe. He was famous for throwing fits on the court. People laughed and dismissed this as a personality trait, but still valued him as an athlete. Fast forward to 2015, Serena Williams just won a match against her sister, and in response to a reporter asking her to smile, she said, "I'm tired. You keep asking me the same questions. You are not making it enjoyable." Instead of understanding the context or even just giving her a pass like John McEnroe got on numerous occasions, social media picked her apart. Female athletes are judged by a different criteria than men. If we show emotion, we are called dramatic or petty, while men are portrayed as superheroes who had a bad day. Another aspect of systemic gender inequality women face in professional sports is the gender wage gap. As you can see, the lowest paid man in the NBA makes 5 times as much more as the highest paid woman. Tell me how this is fair. In other words, male athletes who sit on the bench all season make more bank than women who are MVPs and play the entire game. In 2015, the US women's soccer team won the World Cup and received $2 million. The men's World Cup championship team took home $35 million. Why? Golden State power forward Draymond Green told reporters, "I'm really tired of seeing them complain about the lack of pay because they're doing themselves a disservice by just complaining. They're not laying out the steps they need in order to change that." US soccer star Megan Rapinoe, who had already pushed back firmly on Green's initial thread, said, "It's really unfortunate the position that he's in. having all the resources that he has, and the ability to have a much more educated opinion that he just hasn't. You don't think women have been asking for more investment, what we've been screaming about nonstop for so long? Green's perception, if you'll let me quote a Nike commercial, is based on the idea that if women show emotion, we are called dramatic. If we want to play against men, nuts. And if we dream of opportunity, we're delusional. When we stand for something, we're unhinged, and when we're too good, there's something wrong with us. And if we get angry, we are hysterical, irrational, or just being crazy. When Green made his comment, Rapinoe could have gotten really angry, responded the way she did, or just have given in. The struggle is to fight when we see injustice, because the way we fight is extremely important. Rapinoe and her teammates have been active and visible advocates for gender equality in sports around the country and the world. The U.S. national women's soccer team sued the U.S. Soccer Federation in 2017 over the massive pay disparity between them and their less successful male counterparts. Not everyone is like Green. There are male advocates that support equal pay, but to create change, everyone needs to agree, support, and take action to advocate for the right of equal pay. But whether it's unequal treatment, pay, or representation, everything impacts our perception of women in sports. Misrepresentation is a documentary about how mainstream media creates a certain consciousness about women in society. In it, Marie Wilson says, "You can't be what you can't see." If us girls can't see ourselves, see other women playing sports on TV, then we may not think it's possible. Let me take you back to 2015. ESPN called 2015 the year of women in sports. On the surface, this sounds great. They're dedicating the entire year to women in sports. But when you really look at it, is it a positive thing? Why was 2015 chosen? Maybe it's because in 2015, the US women's soccer team won for the first time since '99, a milestone event. The final game of the Women's World Cup generated higher television ratings than the World Series, Stanley Cup Finals, and NBA Finals. Or maybe it's because Serena Williams was Sportsperson of the Year. Their accomplishments are undeniable, and the recognition they got is well-deserved. We're glad sports media covered it and highlighted it. But what about in 2014 when the Canadian women's hockey team won gold in the Sochi Olympics? And Serena Williams defended her US Open Championship in 2015, which gave her 18 career Grand Slam titles. And what about in 2016 when Simone Manuel became the first individual Black woman to win a gold medal in swimming? And of course, we can't forget Serena Williams, who won Wimbledon, giving her 22 Grand Slam titles. And in 2018, when Enrique Ogunbowale captured the national championship for Notre Dame with a second straight buzzer beater. And Serena Williams won the Laura Sportswoman of the Year and Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year. Every year, women constantly continue to blow our minds. Through pregnancy, through age, through unequal pay, and through discrimination as they continue to excel in professional sports. Shouldn't every year be the year of women in sports, not just 2015? Just like every month should include women in history, not just March? The fact that a year of women in sports exists is like a signpost saying, we know we've been ignoring women in sports, but here you go. You can have 2015. We need to do better. Remember Lydia? My hope for Lydia, whether she chooses to become a professional athlete or anything else, is that she makes that choice based on her aspirations instead of unfair societal norms. Imagine if women had the respect they deserved, the fair wages, and the airtime. It would create a chain reaction, bringing us one step closer to a future of inclusivity, respect, and gender equality. This is the future I hope to create. I encourage you to educate yourself about and have respect for women athletics. Take the time to recognize the female athletes who are all around you. It wasn't that long ago that women couldn't go to university or vote, but that's changed, and this can too. There's a Nike commercial that I love. It says, "A woman running a marathon is crazy. A woman boxing was crazy. A woman dunking, crazy. Coaching an NBA team, competing in a hijab, changing her sport, landing a double cork 1080, or winning 23 Grand Slam titles, having a baby, and then coming back for more, crazy." So if they want to call you crazy, fine. Show them what crazy can do. If we change our perception of women in sports, it has a ripple effect leading to a change in our perception of what women are capable of in everything. Sports have changed my life. They taught me what it means to be a part of a team, the meaning of hard work, resilience, and sacrifice. Sports have also taught me how to stand up for what I believe in and fight for change. Trust me when I say there are obstacles and excuses that come for what I stand for. I have faced them personally. There are always going to be people and systems that argue against the value of women in sports. But like World Road Race champion Lydie Diegnan said, "Never dim your strength or your determination to make other people feel comfortable." My coach always says to me, "It's stage, not age. You're never too young to be the strongest player or leader." I believe this is true on and off the court. Today, I am here to share my passion for sports and stand up for what I believe in as an athlete and advocate for change. This year, I joined the ranks of thousands of women who advocate publicly for women in sports, and I hope you will too. Thank you.